Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary, Ashton, and this is our NXT review. What can I say, guys? This is another really fun episode of NXT, the final push before the Beast in the East show in Sumo Hall July 4th. And yeah, some great matches, some interesting storyline teases, and overall just a really entertaining hour. What'd you think of this one, Ashton?
Oh, this was a really, really fun show. I enjoyed the hell out of this show, and I think it was a 99% great show, but there is one little tiny thing that I just want to nitpick at when we get to our next segment. But other than that, really, really fun show. And honestly, I would even say that we actually had a good superstar diversity in this show, because we got a lot of guys that we haven't seen in a while. We had a lot of people that we actually had a few people that we almost never see. We had one guy that we've never seen before. You know, there was a good diversity to this show.
Absolutely, and very well said. So, I mean, let's not stall anymore because you do have a nitpick on your minds. Let's get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. I can tell you straight away I don't have any heats of the night, any nitpicks, so let's pass the ball to you. What is the one nitpick you want to air out here?
The one nitpick that I have is that we already know about this whole 4th of July show. We already know that Balor is facing Owens for the title. And it's a little tiny nitpick, Rhino was in the main event tonight, and he was not the one that ate the pin.
Right.
That is the only problem that I have with his whole show. And to me, while the result of the match was a shocker and it still kept both guys protected, it almost made the result of the 4th of July show even more obvious, as if it wasn't obvious enough already.
Right.
So I think that the only way to really redeem that is if the person that everyone is expecting to win comes up short, and I would have an entirely different problem with that altogether.
And see, and here's my thing, Ashton, if I'm really being honest, I did kind of get that sneaking suspicion because I remember how it goes. You know, you win on TV before the big show, and then you lose at the big show. I was shocked that Balor pinned Owens tonight.
Oh, here I am dancing around trying to figure out ways to talk about the result of the match without actually saying any names, and you just come right out with it.
Well, I mean, might as well, right? Because, I mean, it happened. And to me, though, it has the opposite effect of I actually believe Balor might lose July 4th now, which is crazy to think about because given everything else that Owens is doing at the moment. So I completely understand where you're coming from. I think it does kind of, raise the tensions a little bit. Definitely makes Balor seem credible because it's like, oh, he can beat Owens.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely think Rhino should have beaten the pin here.
For sure. And that's my only real thing. So let's move on.
Absolutely. Let's get right on to our NXT review. And brother, how do we open this baby up?
We open this baby up cold, baby, with a match between the Vaudevillains and the Mechanics. Solid match. Not really a whole lot to say about this. It was honestly kind of a paint-by-numbers tag team match. Gotch ate some offense. Aiden English got a hot tag. Vaudevillains over.
Yeah, completely agree. They get the win off the Whirling Dervish. It's their second straight win since, coming back, and we'll see later on in the show that had further implications. But yeah, solid opener. Not really much more to say than that.
But then we go right into our second match of the night, that being Baron Corbin versus, and this is the guy that I said before we haven't seen yet, I believe his name was Tucker Knight.
Tucker Knight, I like that name.
But he weighed in at 317 pounds, if I'm correct.
Damn.
Big son of a gun. And, I mean, despite the fact that he was a big son of a gun, that did not stop Baron Corbin from going full Baron Corbin on his ass and squashing him in 30 seconds.
I mean, and that's literally what it was, guys. He slammed Tucker Knight into the ground, and then he hit and then he hit the end of days, which really looks impressive on a man of Tucker's size, and he gets the pin. I still don't like the seeming directionless nature of Baron Corbin, right. But him squashing guys is still fun at this rate. And I think that's really saying a lot about how much I like the Baron Corbin character. Just would really like to see him get a storyline soon.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. All right, so up next, we had the first non-match segment of the night. We're in William Regal's office. We see Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy and the Vaudevillains, and all four of them are all trying to talk over each other, and they're arguing and stuff. But then William Regal screams, "Shut up!" And he says that you two teams are going to face each other next week, and the winner of that match will become the new #1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And then before the segment closes, Enzo and Cass walk out, and Simon Gotch says to Aiden English, "Let's show them what a man would do."
Yeah, very straightforward segment, just setting up a future matchup for next week, which I can't wait for. Should be a very fun tag match. I do fully expect, though, Enzo and Cass to go over. I mean, they're the more relevant team right now as it relates to the tag team champions. But still, great that we see the Vaudevillains back in this limelight, because, I love those guys to death. So good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, man, we are flying through this. Up next, though, this might be one that we talk a little bit more about. We got our third part of the Who is Finn Balor documentary series, and this was incredible.
They all have been. I love that NXT, because they can't exactly do hype the same way that the main roster does, given their roster rotation and everything. They find a way around it. And, I mean, given, tonight that kind of changed with the tag match, which we'll get more into, later, I love that the hype has been primarily learning about, who Finn Balor is and what he's about. This is another brilliantly done video package. It highlighted his time in NXT and, how he's grown and what he expects to do. And the guy's just a freaking phenomenon. Like, TMZ had the headlines when they first signed, like, top indie prospect coming in for WWE duty. You have little kids in the audience doing the sign, the Bullet Club Too Sweet sign. It's great what a phenomenon he's become here. And that's why so many people, like, on places like Reddit and Tweetov and, like, all over the internet, really refer to Finn Balor as, "Vince, if you screw this up, I will physically kill you," because he's just that good. So this is just a great way to round out the journey of learning who Finn Balor is.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Definitely.
All right. Oh, man. Okay, so as far as this specific part of the documentary goes, they pretty much just covered the very, very, very end of his Japan career and the whole learning process of being in NXT. And he talked about how, like, when you're in Japan and in Ireland and the UK, you don't really know how much sort of reach you have, how many people can possibly be aware of your work. And he made it a point to say that, because then he talked about his debut and how on his debut, when the words Prince Devitt came up on the screen, and obviously they didn't show that on NXT television, unfortunately, but it did happen. They just edited it out. The pop was gigantic, and he said that even though these people had never seen him work for them before at NXT, it still felt like he got a hero's welcome.
Yeah, definitely.
And
without question.
Yeah, and Becky Lynch, again, got another opportunity here to talk about Finn, and she broke down and cried again, and she said about how she just feels like if there's anyone in the world that deserves all the success that they can possibly get, it's him, because of how amazing he is and how much he's done for her and all that stuff. So that was another great emotional moment. Yeah, man, this is just I would say the whole package, but that would feel redundant.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. I've loved this series. WWE's production values kill it every time. I've loved taking this journey with Finn, and I just can't wait for the July 4th show. Should be good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Moving on, we had a really interesting little segment here. This almost feels like one of those instances where something shows up on social media and then they show it on NXT.
Right.
But I didn't see it on social media at all. Like, it wasn't on Instagram or Vine or Twitter or anything that I was made aware of. It might have happened and just nobody posted it to Reddit, or I just wasn't on Reddit that day. Eva Marie with almost like a tryout match for William Regal. William Regal's watching with Sara Amato, also known as Sara Del Rey, the head trainer for the women in NXT. They called her an assistant trainer for NXT here. And Eva Marie is just kind of in the ring. It looked almost like Jessie McKay that she was working with, but I don't want to say that for sure because it wasn't confirmed. No one actually said anything about who it was. And yeah, man, like they did great. It looked good. I'm not going to say great. It looked good. It looked like Eva Marie has gotten competent, at least in the ring. She looks actually somewhat athletic in there. And Regal, I don't know if I want to say he looked impressed, but he didn't look disappointed. So maybe we might see Eva Marie in an NXT ring next week. I don't know.
We just might. I mean, I enjoyed this. Now, it kind of clarifies what Regal said about, proving yourself and you gotta show something to me. So now I get what he means. And that's a good way to kind of, slowly ease Eva Marie into the water. It still makes me fearful for her initial reaction when we come out, when she comes out, which we had a thorough discussion about on last week's TWitWoW, so I won't rehash it here. But yeah, it was a good segment to kind of set her up for her inevitable first matchup in NXT.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's go. Next, we had our third match of the evening, and honestly, I'm going to say it. This was a match of the night contender.
Yeah.
Emma versus Carmella.
This was so much better than their first match for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
First and foremost being Carmella's obviously gotten more experience since then. But also, I think they just work much better when Carmella's working the face dynamic and Emma the heel dynamic. We even saw Hurricane Rana from Carmella tonight, which actually looked good.
Yeah.
So really enjoyed the work put in by these two women. And just Emma, she's really right where she needs to be, because she's right back to that level of prominence that she was the first go-around on NXT. Gets another win here after the Emma lock and really cranking it on, and her racking up these submission victories, man. And given the teaser that we got later in the night, I'm very excited for Emma's future back on NXT.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, up next. Man, I feel like we're really flying through this stuff. It's just all matches, it seems like. But yeah, up next we had Bull Dempsey versus a vending machine. So this was a thing.
Yeah, not really much to say here. He was about to win with, well, actually, he was about to get DQ'd if we're going with the match now. He was about to use a chair to break the thing. Regal stops him, and he pretty much tells him more or less, don't make me have to talk to you again because you won't like the outcome.
Yeah.
And, I'm enjoying that they're actually trying to give Bull Dempsey a direction. Again, it kind of continues the pattern of him being the most interesting he's ever been since he's arrived on NXT, which is more, again, than we can say for other prospects like Mojo Rawley, namely. So I'm really glad that they're trying with Bull. Bull seems to be into it. He seems to be showing personality, in his own way. I'm having fun with it, man. I'm very curious what the payoff's going to be, and that's all I can really say right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so after the whole Bull Dempsey experiment, we have another backstage segment. This one is a little bit more interesting, though. Jason Jordan getting interviewed by Devin Taylor. He says that he doesn't know what's going wrong and he needs to figure out a way to fix it. But Chad Gable shows up and he basically says, look, man, I can't believe you lost to those two schmucks out there. And in instance, he was referring to, I believe, Enzo and Big Cass. And he tells him that they made you look like a loser. And Jason Jordan's just like, I'm not a loser. And Chad Gable's like, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't think you are a loser. They just made you look like one. And then says, look, man, I'm trying to help you. He even went as far as to say, look, man, I watch every one of your matches. And Jordan was just like, stalk much? And Gable was just like, no, I just was studying. I study. That's my thing. And Jordan was like really put off by it. But then Gable says, look, man, I'm trying to help you. All you need to do is give me a chance. And whenever you decide to, you know that I'm willing and ready. And Gable, and he holds up the towel.
I cannot wait for that man's debut. And Ashton, it feels
he's already debuted technically.
Well, yeah, technically, but now really with this personality and everything. Yeah. And I gotta tell you, man, you and I have been doing NXT reviews for a long time. It feels so good for me personally to be this excited about a prospect. Really just can't wait to see him and Jordan do something in a tag team scene. I have nothing against Jason Jordan, but really for me, it really is about Chad Gable at this point. So, let's get to it.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
Is Chad Gable, until Adam Cole gets signed to NXT, is Chad Gable going to be your NXT Adam Cole?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to feel that way.
Definitely. I just have such a good feeling about him. I am so excited.
Chad Gable.
And Brock Vaughn.
There you go. All right. Let's move on here. Tyler Breeze, Ty Dillinger.
Yeah, you know what? Ty Dillinger, he got impressive offense in this match. I'm not gonna joke around, do this and that, but ultimately, again, Tyler Breeze does get the win. What's interesting to me, and I think is the only really kind of worthy talking point here, is Ty Dillinger. It seems like he gets really frustrated and explosive in his matches. I wonder if it's just going to lead to him ultimately maybe debuting that perfect 10 gimmick, because maybe he's going to bottom out with a certain loss, You see him in a backstage segment just throwing his hands up, not knowing what to do. And then he says, you know what, I need to go home and think about things for a while. And maybe he comes back with this Perfect 10 gimmick because...
John?
Yeah.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
The crowd was chanting Perfect 10 in this match.
Ah, okay. Well, see? There you go.
The crowd was chanting Perfect 10, and at one point they were doing 10, 10, 10, 10. And at another point when Tyler Breeze did something, they were saying 6 at best, 6 at best.
They've got something here. Yeah, I would say because NXT really does keep their finger on the pulse of the crowd. If they were that interactive with Ty Dillinger and the Perfect 10 gimmick, then its arrival is imminent.
Yep.
That's just my feeling.
For sure.
All right. Well, yeah, Breeze gets the win off the beauty shot, so not really much more to say, is there?
Why'd you rub it in?
He'll get his due, man. He'll get his due.
I know he will. I know. And this week's crowd reaction just says that it's more likely even.
Oh, that's got to feel so good for you, though, hearing the crowd react that positively.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I can be excited about Chad Gable and that Ty Dillinger really does have a future, legitimately. Like, I'm not even saying that to be a smartass. Like, the crowd's responding to him. That's great.
Yeah, dude. I'm so happy about that. All right. So up next, we had a really, really interesting segment with Emma and Dana Brooke. They just show up in Sasha Banks' locker room. They're looking at the NXT Women's Championship, which for some reason Sasha decided to just leave at her locker. I don't understand that one. But then Devin Taylor shows up, and she's like, "What are you doing? I'm supposed to be interviewing Sasha Banks today." And of course, Dana Brooks immediately goes into head petting mode, which I genuinely just do not get. And Sasha shows up, and we have a little bit of a confrontation here. Sasha tells them that she is the boss of this division. She runs this place. And they pretty much straight up tell her, well, if you run this place, then we are trying to prove that we are better than you. They don't literally say it like that, but they're stepping up to her. They're stepping in her face and trying to provoke her. And then she says, listen, I'm better than both of you combined. I will fight both of you, and I'll prove it. And they said, well, yeah, but that would be 2-on-1. Shouldn't you get a partner? And then one of them was just like, well, everybody knows that Sasha Banks can't get a partner because she's been such a you-know-what for the last, I don't even know how long they said. They kind of censored themselves by just not finishing the sentence. And Sasha said, listen, I will find a partner. I'm assuming it's going to be Charlotte, but I could be wrong.
If it's Charlotte, that would be really cool because it would show those two women putting their differences aside for a common enemy.
Maybe Bayley is another possibility.
Bayley could be another possibility, but and again, it would follow the same theme of just common enemy burying the hatchet. We'll see. We'll see, because it's got to be one of those women. You'd think Charlotte, though. All signs indicate Charlotte. Yeah. And, yeah, if Emma and Sasha Banks are on the collision course for a feud, which we, again, have talked about in past TWitWoW, so I won't go into it too much here, I am so excited. It's going to be so good. So, yeah, man, great segment. I think a great teaser potentially for the future. I am all in on this.
Yeah, and I think my thing is I almost have to wonder if it's going to be Bayley. And that'll be like the way that they turn Sasha face.
Maybe. I mean, again, like, it really does seem, though, that Dana Brooke is, like, infatuated with, like, beating Charlotte, so you'd think Charlotte would be the obvious right. But then again, Bayley has had her issues with Emma, so you could go with either one, and I think you could get away with it. I'm just thinking it's going to be Charlotte, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's no matter who it is, it's going to be interesting. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So, man, we're really flying through this review. It seems like NXT was just kind of on cruise control this week, building up for the big 4th of July show. I'm okay with that, though, because we're live reacting to the 4th of July show. We're getting up at 5:30 in the morning, and we're live reacting to it. So, yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, if anyone ever questioned our love for you guys, question it no longer, because we are going to Iron Man up for this show, guys. It's going to be great.
Up next, though, was our main event of the evening. Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Rhino. And we kind of talked about this a little bit in Heat of the Night just because of my nitpick. I don't know, man. What do you think? What do you think about this match?
You know, I enjoyed it, Ashton. In a way, I kind of wanted the heels to go over before the big show. But see, that would have made me sweat bullets, too, because there was one point in this match where Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, and they're kind of teasing this double team combo. Like, okay, I'm going to hit the Muscle Buster, you hit the coup de grace, like all on Owens.
Right.
But then Rhino does the run in, and then Joe eats a pop-up powerbomb. So I'm like, no way, is Joe going to get pinned already? But then Balor comes in again, so there was like that whole breakdown. So this matchup, the only real solution was, again, Rhino eating the pin, and that was the one they didn't go with, because I felt like any other outcome, not necessarily that it would be horrendous or wrong, but it would just be a little weird getting around. Certainly a fun match, kind of like what we said about the opener, pretty by the numbers, and you figure like the hiccup between the one team that, isn't so familiar in Rhino and Owens, it's a common device heading into a show like the Sumo Hall show, the Beast in the East.
Yeah.
So really nothing negative to say about it. It's just really perplexing that Owens would eat the pin here, and again, it just really makes me believe he might retain July and just continue this reign, which I think has farther-reaching implications, again, given what he's doing right now with John Cena and the main roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things with Joe, or with Owens, like, I feel like he's been protected so well. It just gets me uneasy knowing that he got pinned by Balor this easily. But maybe that doesn't say anything about Owens. That just speaks volumes about what we're thinking Balor's going to do.
Well, yeah, because we know Balor's very credible. If we think about their last one-on-one championship defense, I mean, if Balor's leg wasn't worked over to hell and just in shreds, like he hit the coup de grace, and he probably could have pinned Owens right there. So it shows the fortitude and the resiliency of Balor. But I do completely understand what you're saying, and I think that's a testament to Kevin Owens and how he's been protected, because it is a shock when you see the ref's hand come down for 3, and Kevin Owens is eating that pin. So yeah, it just doesn't really give me, personally as a Finn Balor fan, and I'm sure all Finn Balor fans, good vibes about seeing Kevin Owens eat the pin this close to a show. But only time will tell, man. I mean, we got 3 days, so we'll see.
Yeah, man. It's just crazy to think about. All right, well, man, I almost feel like I have to apologize to everyone for this being such a short review, but like I said, they really were just kind of on cruise control for this show. Every match was kind of by the numbers. We didn't get any longer matches, and the longest match was the main event, and it was a tag team match, so it makes sense that it would be a little bit longer.
Absolutely. So, I got nothing more to say, so let's get right into our last segment. High spots and low shots. My low shot is Bull Dempsey. Still has not heeded William Regal's warnings, and this is his second strike tonight. Again, Regal did give the warning, if I have to talk to you again, you will not like the outcome, so can Bull get it together? He didn't tonight, so it's not looking promising going forward, so he is my low shot.
Yeah, that makes pretty much all the sense in the world.
Who's your low shot?
Yeah, well, you made my job kind of more difficult now. I think my low shot, just trying to keep it simple, I'm going to go with Carmella, because she kind of came out in a blaze of glory, and she did her shtick, and she did the hottest chick in the ring, and the how you doing, and the crowd was really behind her, and she whipped out a random Hurricane Rana in the match, and all for naught.
I completely agree. A rough night for the Princess of Staten Island, which works perfectly with my high spot because it's Emma. Feels so good to say that. Gets another victory by submission. I'm loving this heel side of her. I think she's just had totally new life breathed into her, which is so great for, a long-time Emma fan like myself to see. And then she confronts Sasha Banks with Dana Brooke in tow. And I can dig it, man, because I think, again, we had talked about this on past episodes of NXT TWitWoW. It seems like Emma and Sasha are on a collision course, and I'm going to be honest with everybody. When that occurs, I'm certain Sasha will retain objectively, but as a fan, I got to stick by Emma, baby, so it's going to be a great matchup.
Wow.
I love me some Emma, man. What can I say?
Yeah, no kidding. All right. I see how it is. My high spot, I'm kind of surprised that this didn't end up being just a unanimous, both of us pick him as our high spot. Finn Balor. He pinned the NXT champion, and he's got another opportunity to win the title on Saturday morning.
He's got all the momentum in the world right now. And, really, he concluded, WWE concluded the little video package trilogy tonight, so he's had great hype. We've gotten to connect with Finn Balor on a more deep and intense level.
No kidding.
He pinned what was that?
I said no kidding.
Yeah, he pinned the champion tonight. He's got the title match, as you said. Like, everything in the world is going right for Finn Balor. And that's exactly why I have, like, this shudder down my back, you know, because I'm thinking, when is the other shoe going to drop? But it didn't.
Why does it always have to be a second shoe, and why does it always have to drop?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But it didn't tonight, and so I completely agree with your high spot. So, with that said, brother, is there anything else you want to say, or can I take us home?
Oh, man, let's see. I'm just going to go over my notes here, and if there's anything else that I have on here that I didn't mention. No, there's nothing.
Oh, okay. All right, guys. Well, with that said...
Wait a minute. Two things.
Okay.
First of all, are we doing preview and predictions for Beast in the East, or are we just doing live reactions?
Given the nature of the card, I say let's just do live reactions, because it's a pretty weird card saved for the title match, and I think we've already kind of given our thoughts about that here, so...
And second of all, are we going to go the full mile on Saturday, do not only live reactions to the morning show in Japan, but then also do our first ever episode of Ring of Honor TWitWoW?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
buddy.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, that's what you guys can look forward to on Saturday. I'm telling you guys, I had a conversation with Ashton yesterday. I'm not going to reveal all the cards yet because I'd want us to do that together. But, I mean, TWitWoW is really getting ready to explode with a lot of content, guys. It's going to be some good stuff coming up for you guys. And we just love you all for taking the ride with us. So, with that said, Ashton, are those the only 2 points you wanted to make?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, with that said... This has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Big question of the night here. What did you think about Finn Balor beating Kevin Owens? What does it all mean? Be sure to take the conversation over to Tweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group on Facebook. I will tell you guys right now, we are doing a prediction contest, one of our prediction threads for Beast in the East. The winner is going to be the inaugural Tweetoff International Champion. I'm sure it's only going to be defended like a once-a-year kind of thing. At least it seems like. So if you guys want in on that, go over to Tweetoff. But I get it. If you're not one for crowds and things of that nature and you like to keep it to a minimum, Ashton's got you covered. He has made a TWitWoW subreddit where you can create threads and talk to him or myself about any topic of pro wrestling that you want, because, we really are expanding our worldview, and it's wonderful. So, yes, as you know, we will see you again Saturday for Beast in the East live reactions, and then our first ever ROH TWitWoW. Really can't wait to hear your guys' feedback on that one. And until then, tune in and peace out.